This video deals with the different functions of the discourse marker well. I basically included this article because while accounting for choices, students sometimes said that well was a non-informative item, and that's why they couldn't think of a paradigm. And I believe that sometimes if you think about the function of this marker, you can very well think of a set of choices from which you can choose in a particular situation. So let's start by defining what a discourse marker is. According to this author, discourse markers do not affect the truth conditions of an utterance. They do not add anything to the preposition or content of an utterance. They are related to the speech situation and not to the situation talked about, and they have an emotive expressive function rather than a referential denotative or cognitive function. With examples, we're going to explain what that means. Let's take this example. A says, "But who has to buy it?" Well, the state has to buy it, but so and so. The presence of well here does not change the truth conditions, and it does not add any information to the prepositional content expressed by B. It would be true whether you have the well inserted or not. It probably indicates that the answer should have been clear for A, and in that sense it relates to the speech situation rather than to the situation talked about, and it reflects the speaker's attitude towards the question. This author lists 4 functions of the discourse marker well. The first one is it can function as a marker of insufficiency. And in order to show this, we're going to compare these 2 answers. Did you kill your wife? First answer, yes. Second answer, well, yes. If we think of the truth expressed, whether you say well or not, as we said before, will not change the circumstances. That is, the answers are both true or false in the same set of circumstances, but they are not interchangeable. The first one, that is yes, is a direct answer, whereas the second one isn't. That is, it gives the idea that that is not a complete answer. Maybe that something needs to be renegotiated. That is, yes, I killed her, but I had a reason, let's say, or something needs to be explained. Another example that compares well with it is the one shown in this slide. The man speaks extremely good English. Well, he comes from a village so and so. Or yet, he comes from a village so and so. The idea given in the first case is that that village is a good place for learning English. That is, that might be the reason why his English is good. Whereas in the second place, yet, that would be despite living there, the man has a good command of the language. By using well, what B expresses is that he or she shares A's opinion on the quality of B's English, but he or she does not find it as remarkable as A does. Another function, well as a face threats mitigator. Let's see the situation. They must worry about you though, Eddie. don't they? Your mom and dad, when you're doing all these jumps, that would be an assessment. And Eddie says, well, they always come to all the shows, showing disagreement when the preferred answer would be to agree. That exemplifies this function of mitigating a confrontation. Another example. Can I just see these papers? Well, I'm not allowed to do this. Again, the idea or the answer expected was that an acceptance or a compliance, which is to obey this request, and the answer that A gets is not the preferred answer, is the non-compliance. So will functions as a mitigator of this confrontation. Another function would be framing or separating discourse units. Person says, but if they wanted people around to talk to, then I would be very happy to stay. Well, let's take the interview first, and then you can see whether you need me here or not. So well is an element that indicates a partial shift of topic. So the speaker expresses that she's willing to, or that she can do what they want, but that first she needs to see if she's chosen. Another example with the same function would be to divide or separate different discourse units when introducing reported speech. So the example says, and I said, well, I don't really think I could write that much because they wanted a 96-page booklet, about that big. So the speaker shows a shift in their points of view by using well. Last function, well as a delay device. On the floor, on the highway, on the hatchway there. If we think of the classification of pauses we saw before, this would be a field pause, a non-juncture pause, and probably a lexical pause. Made as a delaying or floor holding device. That is, well indicates here that the speaker has more to say and doesn't want to yell the floor. Right? Probably what is shown here is that it was not exactly on the floor, it was, to be more precise, on the hatchway. Let's see if you can try and say which function well has in the following examples. And these are the 4 functions we have just seen. So I will show you the slides. Stop if the time given is not enough, because after the example comes the answer. can now go to the assignment. See you next week.